Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Elevate Your Wealth Today podcast. I am one of your co hosts, Jenna Bianca Villa, and with me today is the fabulous Shyla Bassey. How you doing, Shyla?
Hello, hello. I'm doing amazing. How are you?
Oh, just back from travel, getting back into the swing of things. Tax season's over. Excited for a little less chaos in my life, to be
Oh,
honest.
I can completely understand that. And I know just a breath of fresh air for many people that had a chance to complete their taxes by the deadline.
Yeah, we had a lot of chaos coming up to that deadline, as we do every single year. But we have some exciting topics to talk about today. None of them being tax, actually. We'll do that next time.
Sure.
But today, the topics include advisory fees and are they worth it? And what are they? And how do you pay them? A lot of people don't really understand how advisors get paid. So I think it's really great for the public to be more informed on that topic. And then second topic is going to be the value of an advisor. So if you're paying them those fees, what do you get out of it? And we're going to share some client stories on that. Uh, any other things you want to go on or share on those topics, Shayla?
No, I'm excited to just jump into them because I know that we get a lot of questions about it. And I think it's just a good time for us to dive into it for more people to really understand how it works.
All right, who's starting?
I believe you are. We're going to talk about transparent versus non transparent fees and some of the many ways that advisors do charge for the services they offer.
All right. So we've got three main types of fees in the advisory space. The first one would be commission based advisors. Those ones are charging based on a percentage based on the products that they're selling you. And so every time there's a different product that they convince you to buy, they can make an additional fee of those same exact dollars. If they do that too often, that one's called churning. On the opposite side of that spectrum would be fee only advisors. They might be a flat percentage fee or a flat dollar fee or an hourly rate, but you have a very transparent fee on fee only. And then there's this middle hybrid area that's called fee based that can actually be a little deceptive because a fee based advisor can be fee only sometimes, and then they can be commission sometimes. So they say in this fee-based middle ground. And I think a lot of people are concerned or maybe even not even aware that there's a difference between fee-based and fee only.
No, it's so true because one of the things I have seen a lot when talking with prospective clients is we get a chance to dive into their statements and get to provide some education on, well, what is happening and what type of portfolio do you have? And believe it or not, most commonly, many people are in portfolios and investments that are different types of share classes that include fees that they don't even know about. And when I communicate with clients on what is happening, I encourage them to ask their advisor some specific questions, like what share class am I in? Am I in the lowest cost share class to ensure that commissions and fees are not eating away at the actual returns that they're getting in their portfolios? And so I see that very commonly with fee based advisors where it's just not transparent how they're earning money from the investments that they're placing clients in.
Yeah, most of those expensive share classes are front loads. So there's expense ratios and loads in there, and that's something that is a commission product. So they are paying commissions to the advisors that sell them. I find it pretty deceptive how many of those commissioned advisors tell clients, "Oh, you don't pay me anything."
That it's so interesting because most people assume that they're not paying their advisor anything. Why? Because they don't even see it on their statement specifically telling them what they're paying, or it's not communicated how they're paid.
Yeah, you're to speak to the public, you're paying your advisor, whether they're transparently telling you whether you're paying them or not. And if it's through a high expense ratio fund where the company pays them, that the product that they're selling pays them, or the insurance company, the insurance product that they're selling is what pays them. What that really means is higher fees to you, lower rate of return to you, because money has to come from somewhere and it's always coming from the consumer.
Yeah, and I think one of the things too, Jenna, especially I know that we lean into being educators, is it's okay to ask questions. If you're unsure of the portfolio that you're in, it's okay to ask your advisor tell me about the specific investments you have me in so that you feel comfortable and confident. But we make sure that we educate our clients as soon as we learn about the type of investment products or investments that they're in.
Oh, that's a really good one because there's conflicts that exist as well. An advisory firm could sell proprietary investments that maybe their firm owns and gets a kickback and gets some kind of financial incentive for selling that. So I guess an easy example is if you're working with an advisor that's XYZ company and they're selling you XYZ funds, you better believe there's a conflict of interest there because they get paid more money to sell their own proprietary products. And so understanding the conflicts and that they might not be looking out for your best interest, what rate of return is going to be best for you, but how their company makes profits. And I mean, spoiler alert, every single company puts profits first, especially if they have shareholders, they put profits first. I should probably backpedal. Not every single company, because our value proposition is a little different as a fiduciary.
Mm.
But a lot of these big insurance companies and publicly traded companies are putting their shareholders above their clients and their investors.
Yeah, most definitely. And, when we see fee based, of course, there's also fee only. What do you see most commonly with fee only advisors?
Well, fee only advisors usually fall under fiduciary advisors, which a fiduciary legally needs to put their client's best interest above their own. I might have a little bit of a bias here since we have set up ourselves as fiduciaries after all of my experiences as a commissioned advisor. I hated being on that side. So I think fiduciary is the best way to go because it's very transparent. They're either a flat percentage or a flat dollar amount fee that you're signing up for. And there's no fluff, there's no kickbacks, there's no extra stuff on the back end that you don't know about that's cutting away at your rate of return. And from my perspective, any friend or family member, if they ask me who to hire, I always say find a fee only fiduciary so that I know my friends and family are being taken care of and there's not all of this back end commission happening that you just can't track, you can't know about.
And I completely agree because just as a fee only fiduciary, it just feels good to do what's right for the customer and making sure that we're putting their goals and their interests really top of mind. So I think it's crucial when looking for an advisor to make sure you keep that top of mind, that you want someone that's looking for your best interest before you make a decision.
Well, and not every situation works for every single person. And so if you do find yourself investing with a commission based advisor or a fee based advisor, and again, those fee based advisors sometimes charge commissions, educating yourself on what to ask, understanding the complex, and asking questions. How are these products you're selling eating away at my rate of return? Or if you're a fee based advisor, how do I know when you're charging commissions and when you're charging a percentage fee? Just being able to fully understand what you're getting and asking about what you're paying for. I think just being informed is what I would suggest.
Yeah, I do agree.
All right. So I think we covered everything on the various different ways you pay advisors. So now we know you could pay advisors an arm and a leg a lot of different ways. And what the heck do you get for those fees? So, what's the value of working with an advisor for someone who hasn't worked with one before? Do you have any stories top of mind that you want to share of value that we've added for clients?
Yeah, I think a lot of times when people think of advisors, they primarily think of investments and managing their portfolio. And I think for me, a story that really comes to mind is thinking beyond the investments. And we had a client that we were working with that was in preparation for her work optional lifestyle. And we're looking at the big picture of how do we ensure that her income not only covers her expenses, but that she doesn't feel concerned that money's going to run out. And so we took a look at her current mortgage. There was a little bit of weight on her shoulders where she felt concerned about that monthly payment. And so we dove into options on how can she save money in the long run from her monthly payment to allow her to keep her expenses lower so that she doesn't feel concerned about overall income. And so for us, that takes us beyond the investment portfolio, but really leaning into a place that makes the client feel more confident, more comfortable, and in a better position to cover all of her expenses and not worry about a mortgage payment. And so it felt really good to think outside of the box on what's going to help a client be in a better position to not have such a high mortgage payment, or at least a payment that she didn't feel comfortable with. And that's a value add in working with the financial advisor to make sure you're in a position to feel confident in all of your financial goals outside of your investment portfolio.
That's such a good point that these terms, financial advisor, financial planner, wealth advisor, investment advisor, there's all these different terms. No one knows what they mean. Half of them sell insurance, and you didn't want to sign up for insurance. You wanted an actual financial plan. And I think it's worth noting that not all financial advisors or investment advisors or whatever you call them are treated equally.
Mhm.
Some of them do planning work, some of them don't. So some of them are just hyper focused on dollars and investments inside accounts. And then some do this big holistic plan, which I think is where the industry's going. I think that we're moving to a place where people want investment advice and financial plans beyond just dollars and accounts, but how does this holistically impact my entire life? And thinking of stories on how we do holistic plans, I think it's interesting that we're looking at different investment opportunities that come across our clients' desk. Maybe something that looks like buying a rental property and the tax implications and kind of tax savings that we can get on adding that to our financial portfolio. Or maybe even just the tax advantage of investing in your own business if you're a business owner, and how there actually might be a really good tax advantage to investing in yourself and your ability to earn instead of investing in the stock market, which a lot of investment guys won't do because the conflict is they want the money. They won't tell people to invest in things that are outside of the accounts they manage. Finding someone that's really a fiduciary that can look at everything holistically and give advice without that bias, I think there's a huge benefit to that. And let's see what else. I think a big one is I see a lot of clients who haven't ever had tax planning work done. So they will go through their whole career having a CPA tell them, put all your money in 401ks and IRAs and don't pay tax now. You can pay the tax when you're retired. And so they do it and they get all this money in their retirement plans. And then they retire and start collecting Social Security. And then at mid 70s, depending on when you were born, somewhere in your mid 70s, this thing called required minimum distribution comes out of nowhere. Most people don't know that the government requires you to pay tax on a percentage of your retirement accounts every year. And if you don't have a plan for it, it can really screw up your retirement plan in a big way because it'll skyrocket you into a really high tax bracket. And all of a sudden, you're giving extra money to the IRS that you hadn't planned on because of these required minimum distributions. So there's a lot of planning work that can be done around taxes that people don't know about and a lot of investment guys won't do.
Yeah, it's so true. I like to think that we're our clients' financial thinking partners and we get a chance to go deep. And you just brought up some topics that many don't consider, especially from a tax planning perspective. Like, what do my taxes look like in the future? Yes, I know I'm filing taxes now, but what does the future of my tax planning look like? And that's an important value as an advisor.
And the next part of that tax plan is a lot of people aren't aware of. So if you're at in the required minimum distribution age and you're forced to take money out of your retirement accounts and you have to pay tax on it, and then some of these people are charitably minded and they're giving money to charity. There's a better way to do this, a more tax optimal way to do this, because you probably are not getting your $10,000 charitable deduction for the donation because of the higher standard deduction that exists currently in our tax code. And so you can actually do what's called a QCD, or a qualified charitable distribution, and take money straight from your IRA or your retirement account and send it straight to the charity and never have to pay tax. And guess what? The nonprofits don't have to pay tax on it either. And so that's a really neat way to avoid the higher taxes of RMDs if you were giving money to charity anyways. So we've had clients that we were able to save some money on taxes with that. And then for multi-generational in your estate planning, you can do the same thing if you're going to leave money to charity. If when you pass, leaving your IRA account to charity, if we're leaving anything, that's the one, because then no one ever has to pay tax on that money, which means more money for your family, for the charities, because you're not giving the IRS an extra cut of it all.
Wow. I mean, when we think about big picture, that's what holistic planning is all about, helping our clients really think about the future. And that's a strategy, Jen. I'd imagine that so many people just don't even know that that's an option.
Well, I feel like that's usually what comes across our desk is a unique special puzzle, right? It's a your very unique puzzle pieces of your life. And you're not a financial expert, so you don't know how all the puzzle comes together. And us math nerds, we see this as like a really fun, complex puzzle, real life puzzle. And it's a matter of seeing all the pieces and figuring out how they fit together. And it's different for every single person. So I feel really good that the robots aren't taking our jobs anytime soon because it's always a little different. It's not cookie cutter, but maybe that's wishful thinking.
But I just imagine if someone was using AI to ask the question, sure, it's going to spit out an answer, but there's nothing like having a conversation on how does it align within their true financial portfolio and picture. So I think the conversation helps.
Well, many people do know that are really ready to trust a robot AI with their entire life savings and gamble their life savings with the robot and hope that some algorithm doesn't get messed up. I don't know about you, but I'm not ready for that quite yet.
Not at all. Not at all.
I'm for a little job security, just a little.
We're good to go.
Do you have any other examples of the value that advisory work can bring to people?
You've hit several of them, and as you were sharing the just around how we can help clients think strategically around rental portfolios, I just thought of the recent conversation I had with a client that has the goal of wanting to add rental properties, and it was just such a fun, robust conversation for her to start to see, well, when does it make sense to make that type of investment, and what does it look like, once that loan is paid off, to actually have the rental income from that property and to see the big picture. It's one thing to have the idea, but to have a thinking partner really help you lay it out on paper, there was just so much value. And it truly blew her mind to see, well, wow, I know exactly what I need to do to start saving for this. I know exactly what I need to do to put myself in a position to go from dream to reality, especially from a rental property perspective.
Well, and I've seen you even do analysis on people's current holdings. And, there's a lot of people who've been sold various different insurance products as their savings account. And you've run a lot of numbers for people to see if that is the best investment for them going forward.
Yeah, I think there's a time and a place where certain products may make sense for someone. And I think what's been helpful for clients recently has just been to see what are their options and what would be the difference, whether they're putting money into the market inside of their portfolio or if they're investing into a specific type of insurance product. And I think just allowing clients to make the decision for themselves as to where their money should go and what makes the most sense, that's the number one thing. I want them to make the decision. I just want them to know where their money's going and what difference it makes for the future. And transparently, it's caught a lot of people off guard just to recognize, am I putting my money in the right place? And actually seeing on paper, what does it look like when they put it into their own portfolios and actually have control over where they're putting their money. Of course, we can't control the market, but they can choose the environment that they're placing that money in. And so it's been good to allow clients just to see what is the impact.
Yeah, you're doing really meaningful work. And what's interesting is you don't get paid on insurance at all. You don't have an insurance license, but you're actually doing all the analysis of, is this a good product for you? Is this a good investment for you to continue to hold? And so that's a true fiduciary value proposition that you have for people who are paying you.
Yeah, it's a good feeling for me to just know that I'm here to help. And I just want them to feel comfortable and confident in the decisions that they've made around their finances.
And one thing that we haven't really talked about on value proposition is when people come to us and just feel unorganized. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know when I can retire. I have this idea that I'm going to retire at some arbitrary number with no facts around this arbitrary age that it would be nice to not have to work. And so I think this would be a really interesting thing for you to speak to of bringing someone from no plan to having a clear path.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy working with clients that aren't exactly sure all of the steps of what it takes to get to where they want to be. Because I like to help clients dream. I'm a dreamer, so I like to dream with my clients and learn where they want to go. And so I've had some recent clients where it's, of course, they've shared with me what's important to them, what they want to accomplish in the next few years, and then we get specific. So if financial freedom is the goal, describe to me what that will actually feel like for you. Because I want them to embrace and experience internally what the future for them looks like. And then we dive into, well, where are you now? Because that's important. We got to know where we're starting to know, right, where we're going. So I dive into that conversation with clients. And when we get a chance to really identify where they are, it makes it easy for me as their advisor to help them with the strategy. And whether that strategy might look like saving, whether that strategy might be consolidating, bringing accounts into one simple location, or having a house, right? I just say a house, which is one of the tools we use to allow clients to put all of their accounts in one place and see everything from one big picture. Let's get you organized. And just helping clients go from dreaming to let's get some action steps to your goals and let's see everything in one place. Just that alone helps so many people feel just confident about the next steps. And I just have a lot of fun with that. Let's dive into organizing where you are so that at least you have a little more clarity on how you're going to get to where you want to be.
I think that's really special and meaningful. It's pretty cool to tell people you did all the hard work, you saved money, you did what it took to get here. You can retire, and just to watch their face when you say you could retire, you've made it. It's our clients do all of the hard work saving, but we get to be the ones who deliver that news, and it's pretty special when you get to be that person.
Yeah, I know in conversations we've shared with individuals you get to take advantage and celebrate the works of your hard labor. And I think just providing that sense of relief for people, it's just such a beautiful experience to know, like you said, you did the hard work. Now you get to enjoy it. And that enjoyment looks so different for everyone. But it's a beautiful place to be able to help someone and remind them that they did it and you can enjoy your life the way that you designed.
Pretty special job we have here.
Yes.
I'm proud of the work that we get to do. I think that's all we have for today, Shyla. Anything else top of mind for you?
No, that's it.
Well, it was great chatting with you today and looking forward to recording with you again soon.
You too. Talk soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.